Hello everybody, good evening here. This is Abel and you're watching the You Are Able video series, and my guest for tonight is Kyle Daniels. I'm waiting for him to come in now, but let me introduce him real quick for you, for those of you who are joining. Kyle is a mindset and performance coach, and we met at the TEDx event where we were both speakers last year in September, which seemed like forever ago, but it's really, really not that long ago. So I'm waiting for him to come in now, and I'm very, very excited and happy that many of you are watching and joining and being a fan of the You Are Able video series, where I invite awesome and motivated people to share with us stories on how to uplift, how to motivate, how to inspire us with their challenges, because I think that that is something very, very important, especially for now during the COVID-19 period, where many people find their lives more challenging than ever. Thank you so much for always supporting and always coming in. Kyle is coming in now, and I hope that you guys will stay with us and join us. Hey, hi Gracie.
Hi, Abel.
How are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
Good, good. You have do you mind to put your camera down just a little bit, because I can only see like yeah, that's better. That's better. A very nice background, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah, I always do my curtains, you know. a little nature. Wow, thank you. Many people are joining. Thank you so much to everybody who's coming in. Please don't forget to follow Kyle and myself on this account here. And for those of you who do not know who I am, please let me introduce myself very briefly, and then I will introduce Kyle. And then we will have a few questions to ask. And if you have any questions too, please also type it in down there at the comment below and ask us. But please let me introduce myself. I'm Abel Wanamakok. I am a professional presenter. I'm a presenter coach and a motivational speaker. And I met Kyle at an event, TEDx, where we were both speakers last September. And it seemed like a long, long time ago already. Yeah.
Yes.
But it's really not that long ago. The time just flies really, really fast. Hi, Vincent. How are you? So thank you so much for watching. This show is about people who inspire us, people who uplift us, and that's why I call it You Are Able. If you are interested in being a guest, please do let me know and go and fill out the form at findyourvoice.asia/influencers. But my guest for tonight, he is a mindset and performance coach, and obviously he is a TEDx speaker. He is, I consider, a friend and somebody that I admire because he had overcome some challenges. Tonight, he will be teaching us and sharing with us his story about how he rise above challenges. So Kyle, welcome, welcome. Thank you so much. And I have 3 questions for you. And like I said, if anybody who are watching have questions, please ask us as well. Everyone has a pivotal moment or experience that make them change their mindsets, that propels them towards success, towards the right path. What would you say is your story that allowed you to rise above your challenges?
So I've had many challenges in my life, but there are a couple that for me. Okay. This is one particular challenge that I remember that kind of gave me a different frame of mind. So I freshly graduated from university. I think I was maybe like 22.
Yeah.
What happened is that I was unemployed after graduating, and you know, like you have all the celebrations. Yes, you're finishing, you getting a degree, and you're just all happy and think the world's gonna be perfect. And then you step out and you're like, okay, now I'm starting a new journey. And at this point, I'm unemployed. I'm no longer a student. And in South Africa, unemployment is really rough or rife. I think it's like 30%. So it's really 30%, yeah. So it's quite difficult to get a job. And the thing is, I found myself in a really difficult place because obviously being very ambitious, I had this high expectations that once I make it to university and complete my degree and I put in all the effort, the time, that everything's going to be perfect. I'm going to get my degree, graduate, and be all happy. And then I finished the requirements for my degree, and then I think graduation was scheduled for like 6 months later.
Right.
But what happened is that during that time, I realized that it's very difficult to get a job, extremely difficult.
Mm.
And I quickly started going into a dark place because I was like, like my expectations weren't being met. I was feeling lost. I was applying jobs, like hundreds, if not thousands of jobs, but I wasn't getting any feedback. Everything was just being rejected. And the opportunities that I did get, it was like really difficult jobs to do, and there was no growth. But anyway, and then this one particular day, I applied for a scholarship, and I received an acceptance letter stating that we need to come in to do a presentation. So I was like, okay, cool, and went into the presentation. And on the day, we needed to give a presentation in front of, I think it was like 30 executives of these major corporations in South Africa. And the thing is that they were funding the scholarship, so they were paying for us to go and study. And so we needed to sell ourselves to them. We already were on the scholarship, but we needed to sell ourselves to them. And when it was my turn to go into the auditorium and speak, I completely froze. I didn't know what to say. I was like,
auditorium?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So it's not like a small little room. It was an auditorium? Oh, wow. That would be very scary.
Yes, I was so intimidated. Yeah, I just stood there stuttering. I couldn't get the word out, and they could obviously see I was nervous, and they decided to ask me some questions. And even the questions, I was like, I couldn't answer. Eventually left the room and went to the back. I spoke to the person who was in the scholarship applications, and she came over to us and she was like, everybody got accepted besides, I think it was 2 or 3 of us, because we weren't able to present or sell ourselves to executives. And I was so down. I was like, you know what? Another opportunity, but just came and it just slipped out of my hands. Then I was driving home on this particular day. I was driving actually with my sister's place. And while I was feeling sorry for myself, and I was just thinking how bad life is, and yeah, like when is things going to turn around? I went over to my sister, I spoke to her, and she felt sorry or empathized with me. And then a few minutes later, she was like, Kyle, can I ask you a favor? Do you mind sweeping the stoep, which is the porch in South Africa, the porch? And I was like, I looked at it, I was confused, but I was like, you know what, I'll do it anyway. I swept it, and while I was sweeping, I was thinking to myself, so why did she tell me to do this, knowing that I'm at my lowest point in this moment? Like, I just got rejected, and I had this big opportunity in front of me, and yeah. So while I was sweeping the porch, in that moment, I just came to me that, you know, the thing is that life goes on. It doesn't matter. The onus is on you or nobody else. People can care for you. People can be there and try to help you. But at the end of the day, you need to take responsibility for the outcome, whether it's good or bad. And I think in that moment, one of the biggest mindset shifts happened for me, because I started realizing that if I wanted things to change, I needed to change. I needed to change the way I thought about things. And nothing was going to be given to me. I really saw nothing was going to be given to me. So what am I going to do to actually step up my game so that I can get a job, so that I can be more employable? So yeah, that thing started to shift for me. And thereafter, I started just immersing myself in personal development, and I applied to do a postgraduate in psychology. So my mind changed from I want things to happen because I have this degree and this high expectation I had for this degree, to saying, you know what, I'm going to go out and I'm going to make things happen. I'm going to find the resources. And yeah, so that is when the shift happened.
Wow.
So that's challenges that I faced.
You know, I know that everybody in life have challenges, and you know, life is not ever easy, and it's not supposed to be easy. But there is this entitlement that, especially if you are born from middle to wealthier families, you feel maybe entitled. You expect things to happen. Whereas people that are maybe struggle more and poor, like myself, I was very, very poor when I was, when I was born in Hong Kong, where we don't have much. We have less expectations, but no matter what, everybody have expectations and everybody want their life to improve. And when things don't happen like the way we expect it to, it's automatic. Like, expectation leads to disappointment, right? How
Yes.
do we manage? How do we manage that expectation or our own minds? Or how do we control? I'm not sure if these are the right words or not. Control, manage, um, to see with different lights, because the situation outside of us is always the same. The situation is what it is, but it's
Yep.
our eyes and our minds and other people's eyes and minds from their background that look at the things differently. So, I admire that you can, quickly realize that even though you are suffering, but your sister asked you to sweep and you decided, well, life goes on. Like, things have to continue to move forward. Just like we are in this situation now, where I'm sure everybody some days struggle, but hey Steve, how do we deal with this challenge? And that's why I wanted to ask you too, because we're all in this together, the whole world. How do you, or what kind of advice do you give to people who are in this COVID-19 situation? People who especially have lost their job or could not find a job, or they have difficulty being positive in the current situation. What kind of advice do you give to them, to me?
So it depends on the circumstances, because we can't take a universal approach to it, obviously, to the challenges. But
Yeah.
we need to understand that the framework or our mindset that we go into a challenge determines how we're going to approach the challenge. And it ultimately boils down to the story we tell in ourselves. And you mentioned something there about, because nothing was given to you, you needed to work hard, that you don't have this high expectations because you know that you have to work to get it. And that is an important quality to have if you want to achieve things in life. And that can only come from struggle. That is resilience, okay? We only become resilient through struggle, through the challenges. And we have to wait for the challenges to happen. We can set intentional challenges for ourselves, okay? So, for example, pushing yourself, because even when we go into a challenge, I'm not specifically speaking about Corona, I'll get into that, but any challenge now, when something bad happens, ultimately, how we approach it is based on the story we tell in ourselves. Are we the victim or are we the hero? Okay. If we can always position ourselves as the hero, then ultimately we're going to act like the hero. So we're going to carry ourselves like the hero. So if you can just every single day before you reach the challenge, then you are conditioning your mind to be the best person you can be, to be your hero. So the thing is that we don't have to wait for life's challenges to happen, because they are going to happen. Okay. If we know it's going to happen, what can we do beforehand? Is prepare. Like the athlete needs to train his body, we need to train our minds. Okay. And there's various ways to do this. You can even do it through physical training, pushing yourself to your limits. Okay. Recreating that story, being the hero of your story, do what the hero does.
Right.
So an example is, if I say, you know what, I'm strong, I'm powerful. Okay. That's just an affirmation. And affirmation without work is nothing. So I need to do what somebody who's strong and powerful does in order to be strong and powerful.
Right.
So I need to believe my story, and that's what we need to do. When you go into challenges, you understand that I'm resilient. I've done this before. I've been through the difficulties before. So get into this particular challenge we are facing right now, COVID.
Yeah.
What happens is that we need to understand that in a situation where you lose your job, that's very difficult. Okay.
Right.
So you need to give yourself time to feel the pain, to feel the emotion, to sob, okay, to feel sorry for yourself, but set a time frame on how long you're going to feel sorry for yourself. So if you tell yourself, you know what, I'll give myself 24 hours or 48 hours, then do that. Cry, feel sorry, feel like the world's against you. But after the 48 hours, get back up and say, now, what am I going to do going forward? Okay, now I'm going to be solutions orientated. What can I do to get out of this? Because when you lose your job, you are ultimately in survival mode. Okay,
Yeah.
and now you're in survival mode. You need to understand that what can I do to survive? What must I do to put food on the table? And in this mode, you can actually say, how can I be resourceful? How can I be creative? So it's just looking at what resources do you have? What networks can you tap into? How can I be creative? So it also gives you an opportunity to sit back and reflect, something that we don't do when things are going good. So once again, challenges gives us that opportunity to reflect and do introspection and realign with where we want to go. So I mentioned the feeling, giving a time frame to feel, okay, and then I said, doing what you have to do to survive, getting your hands dirty, but then after the surviving, look at past challenges, look at things that happened previously in your life, because no human being is exempt from challenges, from the difficulties. But look at the framework, the principles that helped you during those times. Okay? And you can use that going forward. Then the next step I would say is plan. Plan going forward. Set a plan in action.
I love that. You know, oftentimes when I ask people for advice, not all the time, but I said oftentimes, people would tell me, you don't need to feel like that, Abel. Don't feel bad. Don't feel like this, and don't feel like that, and don't feel like that. And I'm just thinking like, hello, I'm feeling it. Like right now I'm feeling it. So how can I not feel it? Yeah. And then also when I read a lot of spirituality books because I am also very, very deep into personal development. And when I read these books, what they always teach you is you need to accept the feelings that you're feeling at that moment, but be aware of it. Try to be aware of it, at least try to be aware of it, so that you know that, oh, I'm thinking victim now, or I'm thinking hero now, so that you actually know that, oh, if I think as a victim, then I need to adjust my mindset to, like you said, yes, you can feel sorry for yourself, but how long do you allow yourself to feel sorry for yourself, right? You have to keep, like you said, I really like that. 24 hours, 48 hours, like how long do you want to feel like crap, right? how long? Because at the end of the day, I think our bodies and our minds do not enjoy being unhappy. I think we all seek happiness. So I really like that point. And then the other thing is, I wanted to say, many of us think that we need to survive. And to be honest, I grew up with my family who has the mentality of we are always lacking, we always don't have enough, so we always need to survive. But what I'm learning now is when you realize that everybody has to die, and that is a fact. There is no youth potion that allow you to live forever. Everybody must have birth. You have to go through this, lifetime of transformation, and then you must die. So why do you have to survive instead of just living? Because you have to die anyways.
Yes.
So how do you live, right? How do you live instead of trying to survive? And I think that's maybe what you're trying to say is, how do you create your path also for yourself instead of just waiting for jobs to come or waiting for people to, call you back, even though you say, oh, I am doing something already. I'm doing something already. I'm trying to get a job. I'm trying. So, I mean, that's just a comment. That's just an opinion that I have, obviously, of what you said. And I think I really like the fact that you said, feel it,
Yes.
feel, because I think it's very important.
Yeah. And on that fact, on that comment you made about, survival mode, and sometimes we have to be in survival mode, especially if you lose your job. You need to do whatever you need to do to put food on the table. But then after that, or once you're able to put food on the table, then you can say, now let me put a plan in action for what I want out of life. I can't live my life from survival perspective, okay? Because like you said, survival is lack. You're lacking. I'm just getting enough. All I want to do. You need to move to a mindset of abundance, because everything is abundantly available around. So
Yes.
and that will allow you to notice the abundance and the opportunities. Yeah. So it's also just
Right.
being able to shift and understand, because different different circumstances requires different versions of yourself. So maybe in survival mode, you need to to feel that pain. Okay, you need to be in touch with that pain,
Yeah.
because that pain is driving you to go and find a job or create yourself. Whatever it's
Right.
doing is driving you to put food on the table. So you have to feel it in that moment, but you can't always live life from that point.
Right. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I totally agree. Now, I know this is outside of the question I want to ask you, but how do you attract abundance to you?
Okay, so attracting abundance is basically, once again, a mindset. So how I do it is simply, you know, I believe that there's more to life. Faith is very important. Okay, there's more to what we see in front of us, and if we look at this concept of faith, we use faith every single day. When we go to bed and we have plans for the next day, that is faith. Okay,
Right.
when we get in our cars and drive, we have in faith we're going to get our destination safely. So we need to understand that this concept, we use it all the time. So we need to use this concept as well and understand that expect great things to happen. Okay, expect amazing things to happen. So that is one way. But also, not only expecting, is doing the work to so that you can be able to actually get the opportunities. Because it's pointless opportunities come your way, but you can't take it. You're not prepared.
Right.
Okay, one way. Second way is being in nature and observing the laws of nature. Nature has so many laws, and I get so inspired by nature, just simply being in nature and looking at the principles, the cycles that nature goes through. And there's so many lessons that we can take and apply to our own life. And we can see that, yes, for example, I'll give you a little story. So in the mornings, I usually run to the beach over here on the side. And some mornings the tide is out, okay? So the fishermen's boats is on sand, is beached out, but they still come there at 6:30 in the morning. They're there. Why are they there? Okay, they're there to prepare for the day ahead. Okay, they're there to prepare for when the tide does come back in. Okay,
Right.
so you understand that you need to have faith. You need to look at the laws of life. It's going to happen, but you need to prepare. You can't just expect it to come to you. Life doesn't work that way. You need to be willing to do the work as well. So that is one. That is two principles: observing nature, the laws of nature. Okay, the laws
Yes.
of nature. Yeah, and I think the first one was just adjusting your framework, your mindset. Okay.
Right. 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 I totally agree with you as well. I see a lot of your posts,
Mm-hmm.
uh, your videos on Facebook where you are doing exercise and you're running and you're sharing motivational thoughts.
Yeah.
And I find that when we are in nature, we're connected to nature because that is what we are as well. We are part of nature. We're not separate from it. We can learn so much, but we have to quiet our minds so that we
Exactly.
can see clearly what nature is teaching us. because nature, they know how to go through the whole full cycle. When humans are still learning, we're still learning in so many ways how to go from one end to the full end, where we are, you know, learning to simply recycle, learning to reuse all the things instead of just creating a lot of trash in the world and creating a lot of mental trash, because our minds create our reality, just like you
Exactly.
said. So if I may add too, to create abundance, you must believe that you can have abundance in your life. And that has to be a consistent thought, a consistent feeling. It's not like today I feel abundant, but then tomorrow I feel lack. And then, because that doesn't really work. You have to actually, like you said, you have to train your mind to be strong enough so that you are consistent in staying positive as much as you can. Of course, there is the flow of life where you have positive and negative energy, where you have good days and bad days, but you must believe that you can and that you have. You have to say, I am abundance, not I want abundance. You have to say I am. And I just learned this. I just learned this, you know. I am abundance. So I'm learning too. So thank you. Thank you so much, Kyle, for reminding me on that
Can I add?
as well.
Um, so Abel, on that, like you said, life has the obviously the highs and the lows, and there are days where you might feel low, but that's why we need to create systems.
Yeah.
Okay, like a system that you don't have to base your feelings on how you're waking up today and feeling, but you have a routine, for example, is a system where I wake up every morning, I go for my run, irrespective of whether I'm feeling down or not. Do you understand? So if you can set little daily practices that
Okay.
allow you to recognize the abundance, whether it's meditation, going for a run, or like you say, the affirmations, whatever it is, we need to put systems in place, daily practices that overrides how we feel on a particular day. It doesn't depend on our emotion. So it can put us back in the state of abundance before we wake up feeling not in the best mood, or before we start thinking about, oh, you know what, I have all this work to do. You know, so that is just one of the tips that I usually recommend my clients to do as well.
I will do that. I will follow that too. There are times when I I try to count my blessings every day, but I
Mm-hmm.
don't always count it in the morning.
Okay.
So sometimes I count it and then sometimes I forget to count it. And I would find myself in a bad mood
Mm-hmm.
before I would count it. And
Yeah.
and so I should count every morning, right? Before I
I,
start.
I recommend doing it before, like first thing in the morning, like before you do anything, try to just schedule that activity. That's your very first thing, so that you know you
Okay.
prime yourself, your mind, your emotions
Okay.
for the day, so that you are not, because like you said, when you're in nature, you recognize the abundance. Okay. When you
Okay.
say, I am abundant, or I count my blessings, you feel abundant. So you don't have to wait for life to make you feel low, or you don't have to wait to feel good before you start doing this. Just schedule it first thing in the morning.
Control this first.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. Because I do find that because of this period, this quarantine period, that my emotions is bigger waves than
Yeah.
before. Yeah. Before I find myself a bit more stable, a little bit more, but now it's like a little bit more. So I have to try harder. Like this is why I created this video series, is so that I can still connect, I can still be creative, I can let whatever that's in my mind out somewhere, and I can learn from people like yourself as well. So it's good to also, you know, create some things. So let me ask the third question that I have of you now, because it's already 8:28. Time is going by very fast. What, I know you're a very wise guy. I do that. I know that. Even though I don't talk to you very much, I know you have a lot to teach. What inspirational message, or maybe even a quote, do you have for us tonight to help others at this very important time in our history?
I would just say, you know what? I don't. It's not a particular. It's not a quote, but I would just say, listen to the story. Listen to your narrative. That's the most important thing. And if we can just start paying attention to the things we are telling ourselves and start recreating that story, start putting yourself as the hero, as being powerful, as conquering this challenge, and that will help you actually do the work that needs to or aligns with how you see yourself. So that's important. It's just that we need to pay attention more to our stories, not what people think of us, but what we think of us, what we tell ourselves. And because we need to break this conditioning that's happening or that's happened in our lives. We throughout our lives we facing all the challenges and things that's broken us, whether it's rejection, or so we always seeking this approval from people. And maybe now in this point you're in a low point, but you just need to say, you know what, the thing is that from this point forward I'm going to become the hero of my story, because it's your story. This is your life. You only have one life to live. There's no second chance. Do the best. Be the hero. Save the day. Save your day. Be there for the people that need you most, and do the work that's required of you to be that person. So I'll just end off with that.
Oh, that's really beautiful. You're inspiring me now. For sure, for sure. See, you are a great speaker.
It took a lot of work to become a great speaker, and I'm becoming better. But yeah.
Yeah, everything is about progress and consistency, right? Nothing just happens.
Exactly.
So I really love that. I really love that. Listen to your narrative and be your own hero, because we all have only just one life to live. So how are you talking to yourself? Because I am also trying to be more consistent in how I talk to myself as well, and try to be more positive rather than just let my emotions drag me down and think that, oh, I can't control myself, or I can't control my feelings, or whatever it is, excuses that we give to ourselves. Before we go, does any of our audience have any questions for Kyle or myself? Anyone have any questions? We would love to hear from you. See, Carlos said Kyle is a phenomenal speaker. Well, thank you so much to everybody who have stayed with us and who have joined us and listened to us. Please do follow our pages. Whether you're my friend or Kyle's friend, please do follow, because the You Are Able series is every Monday and Thursday. And I do have guests until July now. And if you want to be a potential guest and you have a story to share, please contact me. And this video will be edited and it will be on my YouTube channel or on my website, findyourvoice.asia. So please go take a look there. Any nighttime routines for a peaceful night's sleep? That's a question.
Nighttime routine. I would just say at least an hour before, quiet in your mind, and whether it is playing some peaceful music, sitting in a dimmed room, so it's not concentrating on what's going to happen, not focusing on tomorrow or what happened, but being in the moment, being present. So just quiet in your mind, finding things, not being on your phone, not watching something. So just being at least an hour before if you having difficulty sleeping.
That's very good. That's very good. And I have another question from Layla, Kyle.
Okay.
Any tips on how to keep doing morning routines, workouts, for example, regardless of whatever you're feeling?
Any tips? All you need to do is do it. You need to firstly commit to it, okay, and understand that it is a process until it becomes a habit. Okay, so first you're going to have to use your willpower, even if you're not feeling good, but you just have to keep doing it, keep doing it, because remember why you're doing it. You're doing it so that you can have more energy for the day, so that you can become the better person. So if you just keep that in mind and keep moving forward, eventually it will become a habit, and you can just do it. Wake up jump out of bed and go. So just consistency.
Exactly, exactly. You have just answered something in my mind. You know, I was thinking like, oh, I'm so tired. Should I go to yoga tomorrow? And I said, yes, you have to do yoga. And then the other part of me is like, gosh, I'm tired. I don't want to go. So it's like this little fight within ourselves. But thank you so much. Thank you so much, Kyle. And thank you for everybody who have stayed and joined and asked questions. My next guest is Renetta next Monday. So please do join. And she's going to talk about energy healing because she is a yoga teacher and she is a energy and spiritual healer. We're going to be talking next Monday right here on my page. So please come back and once again follow us and see this video. If you missed, the beginning part, you can see this video on my YouTube channel, which is youtube.com Wanamakok, which is my last name, or my website, findyourvoice.asia/video. So thank you so much, Kyle. Thank you so much.
Great evening further. Bye-bye.
Hope to see you in person soon, someday.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you
Have a
so
good
much. Really appreciate it. Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye-bye.